This is CapCan Knows, the official podcast of the Capital Area College Access Network. We're excited to engage the community in conversation about college access. I'm your host, Diana Yafizova, an American Corps Vista serving with CapCan. Joining me is CapCan's Executive Director, Michelle Strauss, and our guest, Dr. Sean Williams, the Superintendent of Eaton RESA. So let's get started. First of all, Dr. Williams, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We begin all of our podcasts with a personal story of who encouraged you to continue your education beyond high school and why was it important to you? Could you tell us about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I grew up in a small town, just 30 minutes south of Lansing. I'm the first in my family to attend college. From early on, I've had a fourth grade teacher who really encouraged me to go into teaching. And while not, it really wasn't a college going era, I guess, in our school district at the time. Very few students did go to college. One life event that happened when I was young is my dad worked for Dana Corporation and had a really good UAW job making rear ends for vehicles, and he lost his job. And when you go through that as a family, because Dana moved south to Indiana out of Michigan, when you go through that as a family, it makes you look at like what you could do to prevent that from happening in your lifetime. And education is that one thing that nobody can take away from you.
Great. Thanks, Sean. I didn't know that about you personally, so I appreciate you sharing your story. Can you give our audience a general overview of Eaton RESA and how the Aviation Center Career Institute came to be?
Sure. Well, we're really proud of the program. It's the first of its kind because it really targets all students. Historically, aviation programs are quite expensive and really limit what students can pursue aviation degree based on their ability to pay for the flight time. Mm-hmm. And so we had a really great opportunity to partner with the Capital Regional International Airport to offer a flight program at the airport where our classroom space is actually held. And then to help offset the cost, we partnered with MSU FCU, who is providing loans for students to take out to pay for their flight time. So the class time is completely free, but the flight time they have to pay as they go. But the good news is when these students graduate and have their full commercial pilot's license, they will make about $80,000 a year starting out. The other thing that's nice about the program is we have some flexibility. If the student chooses to go on and earn a bachelor's degree, they can do that through EMU, which is a partner with the flight school, which is Crosswinds out of Howell.
That's great. So you've got some opportunity to earn some flight hours, to earn some credits now, and then to obviously pay for what continuing education after high school that's very affordable.
That's the dream.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You've worked for Eaton RESA for some time. Can you talk about your idea and process to create the Eaton RESA Aviation Career Institute?
Well, it's an overall focus of Eaton RESA is we want to develop more programs in cooperation with local business and industries. One of the reasons for that, it creates a really immersive experience for students. So when they're working for a company as they're taking their classes, it gives them an opportunity to really understand what the career really looks like. And so we have a couple examples of this already. We have a program at Farm Bureau Insurance. We have a program at AIS, and then we also have a program at the zoo. So the students are really getting more than that classroom experience when they're there. The other thing is when we partner, we're able to keep the costs down so we can add more programs. So instead of having one really expensive program, we can have 3 low-cost programs because our partners are helping us out with those costs. So that's really an overall focus. And so when the opportunity came up to partner with the airport and do something very similar, we jumped at the chance.
Mm-hmm. So this program is really just off the ground this semester, but have you already seen an increase in interest of students to work in the aviation industry?
A lot of interest from the very beginning when we advertised the aviation program. We had over 50 students sign up in the first 30 days that we had that available for registration. We have representation from almost all 26 high schools. We have a student at least from each one, except for a couple. And so the word of mouth of those students in those programs talking about the aviation program and talking about with their friends, in addition to us working with their counselors so they're aware of the program, really is solidifying that program as really accessible to students in the area.
There are pathways that the students can do after they finish a program besides being a pilot, but can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So the nice thing about this program is very heavy in math and science, which means that the student could pivot to engineering, business, accounting, or a related field based on that background if they decided they didn't want to be a pilot. Also, LCC runs a top-notch flight mechanics program that this program could feed into as well. So it really, especially with the partnership with EMU and the ability to earn credit if they choose, really kind of sets students up with some flexibility to go different directions and if they decide they don't want to be a pilot.
Thanks for mentioning the LCC program. I was going to ask you about that as a follow-up. So you've alluded to this, but let's talk real concretely about the advantages for students to do this program in high school versus waiting and doing it on their own when they graduate from high school. And what kind of students are sort of rising to the occasion to take part in this program?
Yeah, so we have a diversity of students that are participating, and in part, I think it's because they see it's a very professional environment. We did an open house in the fall where students were able to get an idea of what the program would look like, and so you're taking classes from industry folks within the industry. They're getting exposure to the area companies in the airport, which are potential employers, from FedEx to UPS to the airport itself, which is a large employer. And so they're getting that immersive experience, really able to decide, is this really where I want to spend my time? Is this where I want to pursue this career? Because they have the opportunity to say, maybe this isn't for me. But that's huge when in career exploration, and probably sometimes just as important to figure out what you don't want to do as to what you want to do. So getting that real deep experience will help them decide, is this really want to invest my time? Because there is a cost, of course, that goes along with this. And so when you have a career that's going to be fairly costly, you don't want to get into a halfway and say, oops, this isn't for me. So this gives them that opportunity to earn at least all the classroom experience while they're still in high school, begin working on that flight time, and at the very least, they'll get their private pilot's license before they finish the program, as long as they get their flight time in. And then if they want to continue on to the commercial license, they can continue with that. And of course, FCU is there to help them cover those costs.
Mm-hmm. So there's financial benefits, there's social benefits, obviously there's academic benefits to students pursuing these opportunities while they're in high school.
Well, and absolutely. And, in the overall model of us partnering with local business and industry, what we're finding is more and more employers are helping students out with tuition. And so that's a connection that you wouldn't have if you were sitting in a high school classroom, actually having that class at Farm Bureau. And then you see that they have part-time jobs available and tuition reimbursement programs. So you could actually go to Michigan State or LCC, Olivet, and work on that degree and have that tuition offset by your employer is a huge benefit to students.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate you sharing sort of the vision of why these sort of pre-college programs are so critical for our students and for the community. So thank you.
So it seems like we're coming to an end for the interview. I have one last question. We end every interview with hashtag CapCanKnows, where I ask you, Dr. Williams, who are you and what do you know?
My name is Dr. Sean Williams, and I know that college is accessible for all, and we are here to help all students get where they want to be.
So for more information on CapCan, please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. The links will be in the video description below, or visit our website at capcan.org. Thank you all for listening to us today, and we'll see you again soon.